what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves one speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all.
All right, welcome back to Breakthrough Conversations with Rhoda and Company. Today's episode is titled Composing Confidence, Coaching Creativity and Leadership with Dr. Alina Kirshon Goldman. Welcome back, and I'm so happy to have you all listening to us. We're here to spotlight women who lead, women who lift others, and live their truth boldly. Today's guest is Dr. Alina Kirshon Goldman, an educator, a musician, an entrepreneur, a certified coach. And as the founder of Alina's Music Studio, she creates this powerful, beautiful intersection between music, education, and personal growth. Me being a fan of music, I'm so excited about that. So through all the things that she does, voice and coaching, Alina helps students, especially young girls, unlock confidence. She helps them express emotion and build leadership skills that go far beyond the studio. So we'll talk about how her coaching philosophy informs her work, how performance builds presence, and why creativity is one of the most underutilized leadership tools. I believe that. And so let's get ready to feel inspired by the harmony of music and mindset. Let's dive in. Welcome, Dr. Alina Kirshon Goldman.
Welcome, Rhoda. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for saying yes. I really appreciate it. And I love that we met during our IPEC coaching and we had the opportunity to stay connected. And I just really would love for you to share with us a little bit about your journey from musician and educator to entrepreneur and coach. What inspired the creation of Alina's Music Studio?
Rhoda, I wanted to also mention that I'm a big fan of yours. I read your book and it's very inspirational. And I really recommend to everybody to read The Daughter of the Assassin. It talks about a lot of things that relate to life coaching, resilience, and a lot of things that I value as a music educator as well.
Thank you so much.
So my journey started when I moved to the United States. I taught for different music schools, and I always felt that what guided the whole enterprise was more financial side than the holistic side of education. I never get the chance to speak to the families before they signed up for lessons. I never had a chance to see if the vision of what the music education means aligns with mine. When I decided that it's my time to spread my wings and open my own studio, the greatest motivation was to bring this dream and this vision of empowering students of all ages, not just young kids, but really students of all ages to explore the music, creativity, self-expression as a tool to change their life. That vision was very meaningful and powerful, and that's what motivated me to step away from working for somebody else and take the lead and ownership in this enterprise that I created, which is Alina's Music Studio.
I absolutely love your motivation. That statement around empowering students of all ages to leverage and use music as a tool to change their lives. I find music to be very healing. And when I'm down and or faced with some type of challenge, that's usually my go-to, is to listen to some type of music to uplift me. So I'm glad you did it, because this is mission work. You're doing a good work. At what point did coaching enter the picture for you, and how did it shift your approach to teaching and leadership?
So as I took my IPEC training, I actually realized that I was always coaching. Something that was part of what I was doing all the way, but it was not as intentional and as structured and as clear. Sometimes the boundaries between really mentoring the students to coaching the students are kind of blurry. When the student comes to me, I'm obviously the expert in music. But by all means, I'm not an expert in their life.
Right.
I'm not an expert in their goals. So part of the intake process, I sit down with the family and I find out what is that the student wants.
Yes.
Because in this journey, my client is actually my student. Sometimes, if it's a not adult student, but if it's a child student, I also would have a sponsor who's the parent. Parent also fulfills a very important role of supporting and encouraging the process that happens at home. Because I see my students usually 5 to 6 times a month. They all come to the private lessons, and we also meet as a group, and there are recitals, but most of the work actually, just like in coaching, is happening between the meetings, between the lessons that we have. So finding that balance between being the expert, which means being a mentor in music, teaching them the skills and loops and hoops of how things need to be done, to finding how they're going to use it for their benefit, how they're going to utilize the skills that they learn here in their life. That was the eye-opening moment for me, getting my coaching.
Yeah, it sounds like the process of getting your coaching and the skills that you acquired there are going to better position you to help meet the students where they are. And again, helping them to utilize those skills that they're learning from you in a way that's going to best suit them. So, like, do you have an example of how the coaching discipline has shown up in your day-to-day interactions with the students or families, their families?
Well, it shows up all the time. For example, recently I was approached by dad of my middle school student, and he said that they really would want her to record herself more and do things that sort of they want to. And my coaching skills came in play to work with the family. We can't make a student feel differently.
Right.
We can't force our on goals or visions on the students. The more productive way is to build the confidence first, see if and when the student is ready to record or publish things that they do.
Right.
And to be fair, that's a very young but very accomplished student. He made it to the state chorus after just a couple of months of lessons.
Wow.
Yeah. And yet we have to see what her needs are right now. See the music journey as not a sprint, but more a marathon, something that is a more process of building her confidence and bringing her to the place where she feels empowered.
Yes. So those coaching skills help you know what the right empowering questions are to ask. To your point, what does the student want versus the family? And it sounds like
navigate the dynamic between the student and the parent. Sometimes it's giving the student skills how to communicate effectively to parents to be heard. Sometimes it's advocating for my student. Sometimes it's working with the family, with the parents, how to provide positive feedback to the student to make the student listen to the parents. Because with teenagers, the problem could be both ways.
Right. So true. So with music lessons, they're often like very technical, but your approach seems like deeply emotional and empowering. Can you speak to how you coach students beyond the notes?
Thank you for this question. What a great question this is. A lot of times we think about music as about notes and not necessarily a musical expression. The way to not just express the emotions that the composer who died a couple of 100 years ago experienced at that time, but how we can connect with our emotions, how we can utilize the music to change our mood. Just like you mentioned at the beginning, at the opening, that sometimes you would use listening to music in the right mood. So I will just give you a little tour in my studio. So some of the ideas that I picked up on the way belong to Mark Brackett. And you can hear the mood meter on the board. Mark Brackett talks about positive and negative emotions and about high and low energy emotions. So how students can utilize that. Enriching the vocabulary and labeling emotions helps them to recognize their own emotions. By understanding and recognizing those emotions, they can choose. And that goes completely to our IPAC training. They could choose what level of energy they want to be at. For example, they can feel calm and relaxed, but they know that they have a big presentation to give. So from that relaxed state, how to transition themselves into more energized, uplifting, and communicating state.
Wow.
they can choose to listen to the music, but they can also choose to perform for themselves, play a piece of music that would help them to evoke certain emotions.
Yes. That's powerful. I need to dig and to learn more about that mood meter. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What kind of transformations have you seen in students when they receive both the musical training and the personal development guidance that you're providing?
Well, there are a lot of stories that I could share. I will focus on a couple of them.
Okay.
I have a 10-year-old student, little girl, that came to the studio a year ago. And when she came to the studio to take voice lessons, I happened to teach her family friend too. She was kind of surprised. That girl, she never sings to anybody. She's always so shy. Why would she want voice lessons? And when the girl came for her first lesson, I was able to realize very quickly why she's not comfortable to sing, because she had the challenge of matching pitch.
Okay.
You know, one of those stories of adults, I can't sing. I can never sing. I always just sing.
Right.
I know. So she was about to become one of those. But she didn't.
Right.
Just first couple of months, the transformation that she was able to go through, she not only got very comfortable with her singing, she auditioned for a talent show at her school at the end of the previous school year, and she got in, and she was able to share her voice
Wow.
with all the elementary school. And now we are working on preparing her towards her first audition for children's chorus with Washington National Opera.
Wow. So it seems like she had a big boost of confidence, but the fact that she sought out these lessons on her own, she believed in herself.
She was at least curious. So in her case, she was exposed to singing and voice lessons, and she briefly knew me because I already worked with her friend and her sister.
Right. Right.
So it sort of was natural. Okay, I know people who do that. I want to try that. And when she was willing to try that, then, you know, magic happens when people just willing to try things.
It's so true. That's so true. I tell people all the time, I sometimes I'm just very curious. And if someone asks me to do something I've never done, I often say yes out of curiosity. And sometimes I do it afraid, but you never know what's on the other side of saying yes. So, wow, I love that story. I would love to continue to hear about this young lady. I bet you follow your students and you get to see their success. Do you have an example of anyone that you had the opportunity to coach and train at a young age and they've gone on to be very successful?
Well, I currently have a student who studied with me through high school. Then he got scholarship to be at Cincinnati Institute of Music, and now he's doing his master's degree at Indiana University, also on scholarship.
That's amazing.
So I kind of get to follow him. I have multiple students who actually became professional musicians. But what makes me even more happy is to see my students succeed in fields outside of music.
Yes.
And many of them do. As a teacher, and it's something that I'm very open up front. While I believe that music could become a profession, what we do here is we learn about life.
Yes.
We learn about resilience.
Yes.
We learn about perseverance. We learn about commitment. We learn about curiosity and self-study.
Yes.
We learn about self-reflection.
Yes.
And all those skills really empower my students to go and be good learners and beautiful human beings, which is probably the most important thing.
It is. That's beautiful. And you're the first person I met in this space, actually, that I know of. And my thought process or level of understanding about this type of genre and industry was very small. So in my mind, I visualize what this is about. It's about teaching someone how to enunciate, how to breathe, how to, project. No, this, like you just described, all the things you just listed, we don't really even get that in regular school. So that's pretty powerful. I know you work with all genders, but I also know, because I'm so focused on young girls and women in the work in the mission work that I'm trying to do. I would love to know how, for young girls you work with, how do you intentionally cultivate that leadership and confidence and voice through the programming that you do?
So I will divert for just a moment from
Okay.
the girls' focus, because what you just said made me think about one of my adult students.
Okay.
And as a girl, she grew up in a family when girls should not be seen, girls cannot be loud,
Right.
girls cannot make loud sounds. And when she came as an adult, what was eye-opening moment for her, that she is actually very loud belter. She can sing all those high songs with belty notes and be present and draw attention. And she shared with me something that really touched my heart, that I gave her voice literally and figuratively.
Wow.
Because we learned on the technique, but she also gained the confidence that her voice matters, that her voice could be appreciated, that her voice can be admired. It's actually very special. We went to several performances for example, local church hosts dinner for homeless people. So she was able to see what impact her voice and her singing made for the people.
Yes.
In such glim conditions in life, she could see how she could make people smile.
Yes.
And we went also to perform in low income housing for elderly. And again, you just see those people that their faces light up, their eyes start to sparkle just because of something that you could share with them.
Right.
It's very empowering.
It is. And it makes me, the story you just shared makes me want to just, for this moment, open up. So when I was younger, and even now, I love to sing. And people who, like in my friend group and people I've met along my journey, when they hear me sing, they say, Rhoda, you have a really nice voice. But I don't have the confidence, because when I was singing, my mom would always say, girl, be quiet. You can't sing. You can't sing. So I didn't think I could sing. But I used to dream about being a singer. Like, I visualized myself. I would watch the award shows and I visualized myself on stage accepting the award and all that. The point I'm making is, for those that are listening or watching, it's important that as adults, what we tell kids they can't and can't do. Because who knows, if I would have had an Alina in my life, what I could have been and the impact I could have on the lives of others through music. And so that is a very special story, because you gave her voice.
Rhoda, you can still find your singing voice.
I need to get some lessons from you. Do you do virtual lessons?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I definitely do. And this is not the only story with adults. I have a student that started to work with me in early 60s. Before that, she had a military career and she was a lawyer.
Wow.
And then towards the end of her law career, and as she was getting close to retirement, somebody told her, you actually have a nice voice. Did you try voice lessons? And she found me completely randomly online.
Wow.
And we have been working for the past 5 years. Now she performs a lot.
Wow.
To the extent, and she moved also to Lurie, which is a little bit farther. It's a 2 hours drive.
Okay.
For the past 2 years, she would drive to her lessons for almost 2 hours every other week to see me. But she just said recently, Alina, I have so many gigs, I can't find time to commute.
Wow.
And she's been here for 5 years. So I think that she's ready to spread her wings and, conquer the world by herself, knowing that I'm always here. And I told her that whenever she needs me, even if it's just, I'm actually going to visit her also in 2 weeks for Labor Day weekend, but I'm here whenever she needs me. But she knows enough and she is skilled enough not to have me there every other week.
Wow.
She has it. She got it. She can do it by herself.
That's amazing too.
With
Thank you.
my younger students, I want to kind of circle back to the younger
That
kids.
question.
Some of what I do is group lessons. And in my group lessons, especially for strings, every child gets to lead the group. Doesn't matter if the child is 5-year-olds, a younger student who can only play Twinkle Twinkle, they get to cue and they get to lead the
Yes.
group of 16 people, which gives them a huge boost in confidence. Oh, I'm little, but I can do this.
Right.
To the oldest violin student that I have currently in the studio, who's 70. And he started 3 years ago.
Wow.
So it's being able to lead is really powerful.
It is.
With my voice students, part of what we do in a group lesson, we actually do what is called cold read, which means that I just give them a dialogue and they have a couple of minutes and then they have to present it to the group, and then the group provides them with feedback.
Okay.
Being able to feel the community and be lifted up, not just by me, but also by the peers. It's very powerful.
Yes.
Because if you can speak up and express your emotions without much preparation in front of 8 students, you can do it in front of 20 people that you don't know, and maybe in front of 100 people that you don't know.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that. Everyone gets the opportunity to practice being a leader. So, Alina, how do you help students move through performance like anxiety, and what can women leaders learn from those same strategies?
There are several things that I strongly recommend. As we said, music can set you in the right mood, and I can share a little bit what I did while I was waiting for the interview.
Right.
So, since I'm not very experienced in interviews, I also had a little bit of anxiety.
Okay.
So I opened some of my songbooks and I just decided to sing. I started with songs that are calming.
Yes.
And when I thought, okay, I want to also have a little bit of sense of humor. So I sang a song that had a little bit of humor in it.
Right.
And then I said, well, the last thing that I really want is to feel powerful. So I want to sing one of my songs that have a lot of high notes and very loud. Now, for people who can't sing, even just listening to variety of songs that can help you set yourself in the right mood is very powerful. Breathing exercises. And there are several techniques, starting from box breathing, which is imagine yourself drawing a little box and you inhale on 4, hold your breath on 4, exhale on 4, wait. And then it's a cycle of inhale, hold the breath, exhale, hold, and then inhale.
Okay.
I actually picked it up from my yoga practice years ago. And a lot of people find something like that being very, very helpful.
Yes.
That would be another tool. So listening to music, doing breathing exercises. I like it a lot, mindfulness. And there are several resources for mindfulness as a meditation or yoga mindfulness that I really recommend. And I find it really powerful for people of all ages and genders.
Yes.
That's kind of very briefly some ideas that I can share.
Those are good ones, because often in the workplace and leadership roles, we have to do lots of presentations and speaking. And as we know that public speaking ranks really high on the list of fears. And so the tools you just provided and techniques are really good for that, and also good for, we have to give a lot of feedback, and sometimes it's hard feedback. We have to have these courageous conversations, and sometimes we have to do some unpleasant things by letting people go. These are techniques that we could use prior to having to engage in those activities to calm ourselves and show up the way we need to show up. So thank you for sharing those. So in your view, how are music and coaching both powerful tools for emotional intelligence and even for leadership development?
It's a good question. Specifically for leadership development, part of what I teach students, why the musical expression is so important, is because our brains have mirroring neurons. So sometimes just thinking about what would be if I would be in the place of a person that I need to deliver the bad or hard news, or if I need to provide them feedback, what will be the best way, what vocabulary can I use, what vision or maybe some visuals I can use to communicate the intention and not the emotion.
Right. I love that.
Sometimes, and it goes a little bit back to IPEC, thinking about where is my energy level and where is the energy level of the person that I'm going to have with the conversation. The conflict happens only when both people are in negative area.
Yes.
Even if I have to communicate to parents that I find something difficult, or to tell my student that, hey, you didn't practice for a couple of weeks,
Right.
we talk about that. As long as I can stay in a positive level, I can communicate even difficult things in a way that is inspiring and uplifting and encouraging,
Yes.
versus depressing and diminishing. And
Yes. I love that. I wrote that down. Communicate the intention versus the emotion. And that way people can hear and receive your message.
right, because I can be very upset about something that, and people who make me upset, it's actually never my students. But
Right.
sometimes with the parents, I need to settle things, because it's just, running a
Right.
business, it's not always just being nice. It's also remind people that they signed a contract and there is some obligation there. And I mean that the contract is the contract.
Right.
It's serious legal document that once you sign, you have to follow through. Yeah, so if I can communicate why I want to remind people about the contract and not how it makes me feel,
Right.
it's helping a lot.
Yes. 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 Versus focusing on the feeling, like you said. As a woman running your own business, Alina, in the arts and education space, what challenges have you had to overcome?
So there are probably two types of challenges that I had to overcome. One will be more kind of generic. For example, as every person who runs a business, finding the family and work balances, it can be very tricky, especially because of the relationships that I have with my students. Sometimes I have to remind my teenage students that texted me in like 11 o'clock at night, if it's
Right.
urgent, please don't do it.
Right.
You really need me because you need support, you can do it at any given time. But if it's something that you forgot to mention in the lesson, please wait for next day.
Right. Right.
And yeah, teenagers can be sometimes, because for them it's like the middle of the day.
Right. Right.
It's a problem. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that it was actually 12:30. Probably I never got texts or communications past midnight, but I did get communications around 11 o'clock at night, and
Right.
had to talk a little bit about the boundaries and what's
Right.
acceptable and what's not. Other things, so establishing boundaries, finding the work-life balance, it's kind of more generic. Marketing, correspondence, and interviews with potential clients. All the bookkeeping, all the tax paying, all the facility maintenance, equipment maintenance, it's kind of more of what everybody would encounter. As a woman, an educator, sometimes my challenges would tie very few, I have to be honest, very few instances that I experienced tied into also cultural differences. For example, I had a 10-year-old boy who worked with me for 2 years. And at some point, his dad said, they practiced together before the performance, and the dad said, you need to play until your fingers bleed. And then there were a couple of other things that the child told me, and I requested to talk to the dad directly. Because to me, because holistic approach is so important to me, to say child, doesn't matter how heated the debate was or how difficult the passage was, to say that you need to practice until your fingers bleed, it's not acceptable.
Right.
Not in my view. We ended up so my most communications went through the mom, and mom kind of did not want me to talk to the father. She probably felt very uncomfortable with the fact that the child shared with me something like that. But at the end, we just had to part ways because I need to be able to communicate to parents, and I want to give the parents better tools to express the emotions and frustrations than making those kind of statements. And if you can't, I feel like I'm not feeling my part, and I'm not comfortable to be part of that kind of relationship. Another instance when, and usually my problems are with dads. Another issue was that I had a student that I worked with, little girl, for 3 years. And at some point, the dad said that this is just too much commitment because the father was not part of the process, and the father didn't see what it was all about. From his perspective, it was, just learning how to play the violin here. So for playing the violin is just too much. You have to practice, you have to come to recitals, you have to do this and do that. And he was not willing to talk to me. And the mom in that instance, as a female figure, didn't have much power to change his opinion. So once he made his decision and his unwillingness to talk to me directly, again, it was their decision in this case to just part ways.
Wow, that is something. Yeah, I can imagine dealing with the parents can be challenging, and to the point you just made, it's usually the dads. But kudos to you though for holding your ground and sticking true to your values with the parent that used that statement for that child, and then you not compromising your belief system.
I don't see how I can empower the child to grow up a confident and resilient person when the child is exposed to language that I consider to be border abusive.
Yes, kind of contradicting the work that you're doing. Wow. Alina, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I would love if we can just hear your voice, your singing voice, like a verse of a song that gives you peace. I bet it's very beautiful. But if you're not comfortable doing it.
No, I'm happy to do that. Thankfully, I actually sang and I'm warmed up.
Yes, I heard you say that earlier.
Yeah, so one of the songs that I get to sing quite a bit because it's a very popular aria. It's called O mio babbino caro.
Okay.
And I like it. I actually also have a personal story about that. So in this opera, the girl wants to marry a guy and her dad is really not on board. So she sings to him this song and she says, "Oh, Dad, if you're not going to let me marry, I'm just going to throw myself down from the bridge to the river."
Okay.
And I had a masterclass singing that aria as a very young singer many years ago with a pretty famous Italian singer, Katia Ricciarelli. And she said, "Girl, do you think that she really means that? This is just Italian drama." And it totally changed the way I saw that aria. I mean, she definitely is not that desperate, but she wants it to be dramatic for, making the point.
Right.
And here we go, a little bit of O mio babbino caro. Here's my flat. O mio babbino caro, mi piace bello, vuol andare in Porta Rossa a comperar l'anello. Sì, sì, ci voglio andare. E se amas andarlo, ma per buttarmi in arno.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to that, but that's more or less.
That is absolutely beautiful. And the technique that, first of all, it's a gift. And then the technique required to be able to hit all those notes and the control. A+, so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you very much
for doing. I was hesitant. I wanted to ask you earlier, then I said I'll ask. So, Alina, what's your
Rather, the other part of me, I'm still active opera singer. I'm going to
Uh-huh.
be in Aida with Washington National Opera coming up in
Wow.
October. I start rehearsals just
That's
a couple of weeks.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so in addition to my educational part, I'm still active
You're still
performer.
active.
Yes.
Okay. I did not know that. Beautiful. I love that. So your students are really, and those that are listening to this podcast, if you have a desire or always have had this desire to get some musical lessons, here's an opportunity for you to do so. Or if you have children that you want to do that for, it's so healing. Like it just, so it felt like a hug. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Elena, what's your long term vision for your music studio and how can listeners support your work or collaborate with you?
So my dream actually is to expand what I do and open a nonprofit school.
Okay.
What it would mean that I would train the teachers in both life coaching skills in positive psychology that I didn't mention before, but it's something that I really also use a lot with my students. And we can expand our desire to make the world a better place and beautiful
Yes.
place through the music. Right now, one of the obstacles that I have, it's my time. It's very limiting. And there is also financial constraint. This is why the nonprofit side is very important for me, because I really would like to expand this program and allow students who normally would not be able to afford my lessons to have access to this beautiful vision of the work that I have.
Yes, I love that.
So that is one part of my dream. And you know how we learn in IPEC that universe sometimes just aligns things for us. So, and it's kind of, I'm saying it in public, but even the person that I'm going to talk to yet doesn't know that. But recently, I started to work. He also had on only one lesson, adult student, who actually works for United Nations.
Okay.
And one of the things that I want to talk to him is how to expand this program that I'm doing and allow students who are families of refugees
Yes.
come to United States, who need the healing of music, who need the access to build themselves back up from the experiences they had.
I love that. Again, remember earlier I said this is mission work you're doing. This is not just when we think voice lessons or violin lessons or what have you. This is deeper than that. And that's why I'm so glad you said yes and reached out and agreed to come on the podcast because we don't talk about music in this way. We don't talk about it typically in the way that it has the ability to heal. I absolutely love it. Thank you for that. That's a great vision, and I pray that you get that going and get the support you need to make it come to fruition. So, Dr. Alina Kirshon Goldman, thank you again.
You're very welcome, and it's such an honor to be here. Rhoda, you asked me also how people can get in touch with me.
Yes.
So the easiest way is to find me, connect with me through my website, www.alinasmusicstudio.com. I can also be found through Facebook as Coach Alina or as Alina's Music Studio.
Okay.
People also can connect with me through my LinkedIn page.
Yes, yes. So you are definitely a living example of how passion, purpose, and coaching can intersect to shape future leaders. One lesson, one conversation, one confident student at a time. Again, so whether it's behind a violin or a piano or a voice lesson or in front of a microphone or even during your coaching sessions, just pure coaching, you are committed to helping people, especially young people, unlock their voice and use it boldly, as we've heard through the stories that you use. So, again, to reiterate, to learn more, book a lesson, or connect with Alina on visit her website is www.alinasmusicstudio.com. And you can find her again on social media, as she stated, Coach Elena. Thank you again for the inspiration and for showing us that leadership, it can be composed, it can be coached, and it can be confidently lived. So until next time, Keep leading with heart and leading with harmony. Thank you.
Hey, what's your secret? You got the kind of vibe that leaves me speechless. It could be model multitasking genius. Yeah, you got it all. Hey, what's your story? A kick-ass mom and 40 under 40. A soccer practice